Andy, I'm back from my 2-day excursion to Mississippi. It was a good trip, got what we needed, saw the campus in a new light. It's
Yeah.
this nice small campus, very walkable
Yeah.
campus. So and it's one of those southern campuses and nice buildings and such. I did find it interesting, some of the yeah, Mississippi's just got a very unusual history with race and everything. What happened.
Yeah. Killing black people, for well to the 19th century, 20th century. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think America just in general too, with like the Mississippi people who were you know I don't know, Supreme Court justices who were also very racist.
Yeah.
So, so there were signs like that put up around the thing. So it's a little unusual, but Mississippi, very nice place. Oxford, beautiful little town. My daughter got the classes that she needed, and I think she's going to be off for a year. But I will tell you one thing: the dorm rooms, Andy, the dorm rooms. I remember my freshman year at Gettysburg College. The dorm room was like it felt like enough for two desks, a bunk bed, and two drawers,
Yeah.
or two like dresser sets or whatever.
Yeah.
That's it. You could barely fit things in there. This thing is like double, like her room is double that. It's got their own little bathroom in there, a little like a sink system thing in there too. It's crazy. It's crazy. So
But living large down there in Mississippi.
definitely a little bit different than when I remember growing up, but great, more power to you. So
Yeah. So Dave, when you come home, because you had a lot of driving you have to do yesterday. When you get home, do you like it's like just I'm home and I'm done, just like put it behind me? Do you sit down? Do you have a drink to like calm down from the day? Like how do you respond when you get back in the house after a long drive and a long trip like that?
I just need to just be out of the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like I just sit back, I get into some like just junky clothes and do it. And now I had the fortune, my son, he got me something for Father's Day that had not arrived by the time I had left, and they were cookies, like some of
Oh,
these
nice.
famous cookies. And so I opened one of those things up, heated it 15 seconds, which is just great because then you get the little
Yeah.
warmness in that cookie. And then I just sat down and relaxed for a little while. So it was good. But with the hard part is like when you're on these trips, you just eat like shit. And so my body just felt like shit yesterday. And so,
It's hard. It's hard not to grab the fast food and whatever else. So
yeah, yeah.
I asked that question kind of with an intention because I'm going somewhere. So on the drink side, I don't drink a lot. I'm glad you got home and enjoyed your cookie, by the way. That's a great way to come home. And I'm glad you're back safely. But I don't drink a lot, but I do like to play with, I do like to experiment with things. And my newest interest, I bought these Virginia lowball glasses. They're nice lowballs with the Virginia logo on them. And I have a new bottle of Virginia bourbon waiting for me. So this weekend's treat is going to be making a all Virginia, Old Dominion, old fashioned. So I'm excited
There
to
you
do
go.
that. So if you're around,
I
if you want, you could further decompress from your trip.
I enjoy a good old fashioned, so I use a little syrup in mine, and some people use the bitter. They do all the things,
Yeah.
but I use a little syrup in mine, and I do enjoy one. I just like I don't pop it out a whole lot, but yeah, that's good stuff for sure.
I'll work
So
on perfecting it for you or any of our listeners who'd like to swing by for a nice all Virginia, Old Dominion.
there you go, there you go. Okay, Andy, bunch to jump into today.
Yeah.
Do we start with like Israel, Iran? We didn't talk about that over the weekend. It really escalated up. We didn't really talk Monday about it,
Yeah.
but we can talk a little bit more about it here now. It definitely seems like this isn't just I'm gonna like degrade a nuclear facility. This is about like a regime change. Like they are Israel is pushing for we're just gonna destroy the hell out of Iran to the point where they have to do it. Now, I think there's a couple of things at play here. One, Iran doesn't have a lot of friends, and so their supporters. North Korea, Russia, China. They're also engaged in other areas. So Russia and North Korea, or I'm sorry, Iran was providing a lot of drone support to Russia for their battle in the Ukraine. That is, now has to be focused on Israel, which again, they're flying hundreds, thousands of miles over land, which is easy to pick off. So it's not as an effective strategy for them. Their missiles will ultimately start running out low. So you have that going against Iran too. And then I think the two biggest things that Israel, and this is why maybe Israel feels more emboldened to do this today than they did before, is the two biggest proxies for Iran, Hezbollah and Hamas, are effectively degrade like they're non-combat effective. I mean, that doesn't mean they can't carry out a limited terrorist attack or so, but these things are all coming into play, and now the United States is weighing, I'm going to jump into the fray.
Yeah.
So, 2 weeks ago, they were looking to settle the deal, and now they're looking to jump into the fray. So, interesting times for sure.
Yeah, I mean, wild times and sad in a lot of ways. I mean, the this war was not something on people's radars really, and it came as a surprise. And look, no matter what, when there's war, there's a lot of death, there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of carnage, and on any sides involved, right? I mean, there's been loss of Iranian life, there's been a loss of Israeli life, and I'm always sort of flabbergasted when leaders lead their nations into war under sketchy pretenses, as is the case here. And Benjamin Netanyahu is saying that Iran was about to have a nuclear weapons capability. No one else in the world is saying that, right? U.S. intelligence, our director of national intelligence, I know you're not a fan, Dave, but as Tulsi Gabbard of the intelligence that America has available, which has been amazingly reliable when it comes to, for example, Russia and Ukraine, our government is saying Iran was not about to have a nuclear weapon. But Benjamin Netanyahu is saying they were, and launched his sons and daughters, his nation's sons and daughters, into combat operations against Iran, completely destabilizing the Middle East. I mean, this is a situation we've not anticipated happening, was not on the radar. That in and of itself is sort of just wild enough and hard to process, and there's a lot just in that. America, who was, like you said, negotiating, not signaling any kind of military confrontation. And one of the things that Donald Trump's base has been so, committed to and committed to him for was the non-aggressive foreign policy. We did not fight these foreign wars that George Bush threw us in, that Obama continued, that Biden continued. That went out the window as the rhetoric just went up to such a high level from President Trump, where we're talking about like being in war with Iran. Pretty amazing several days here, to see all of this unfold. And I've got to say, I don't think that the American people, definitely not the left, and a lot of the president's support, nobody wants war with Iran. Like this, nobody wants that. So it's a very strange time here in mid-June to try and figure out like what are we doing, where are we going, and what are going to be the long-term effects of what Israel has done in the Middle East. There's a lot going on.
Well, and I think this is what you're just talking about and describing too, is like there is no coherent policy by this administration for any foreign type of activity. We're caught off guard by some of this stuff. We're surprised, and
Yeah,
Trump can come and say, "Oh, I knew this was going to happen. I gave my blessing." Blah blah blah. Whatever it is, he wants to tout because nobody will be able to ever nail him down on it, and he won't care if he's blatantly lying or not. But the reality is like again, we have no foreign policy. We have no strategic plan for engagement around the world.
yeah.
It's all about, how do we just pull everything insular? How do we make it all isolationism? And then we're surprised when these things happen, and now we're left leaving the G7 summit, which I don't think he wanted to be there in the first place. He was very openly eye rolled and all sorts of other things. Nobody wanted him to be there. I think everyone took a collective sigh when you decided to leave. But again, this is just an administration that is just operating in complete chaos. And you have things like this happen, and we don't have influence in the world to be able to counteract any of that. We don't have any standing. And frankly, the world leaders are now, I mean, Netanyahu is like blatantly, I give a fuck, Trump, I don't care what you think because I'm going to do what I do. And we don't have any recourse for that.
Well,
So,
not only is he doing what he wants to do, but then manipulating our president into going along with, right? So we're just blindly catching up and following what Israel already did. I mean, they did what they wanted to do, and now we're just coming in and be like, hell yeah, you know? I mean, so you look at some of the president's true social posts yesterday. These are three in a row, right? We now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran. Post continues. We know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He's an easy target, but is safe there. We're not going to take him out. Parentheses, kill, exclamation point, at least not for now. Just moments later, all caps, unconditional surrender. What the fuck is this president talking about?
yeah.
One, when did we get involved in this? When did we take over Iran's airspace? You know, what are we doing in this fight? But unconditional surrender is one that really is like I lost my shit when I saw. I was like, unconditional surrender of who to who? Like, what are we asking for? Are we suggesting that Iran should unconditionally surrender to the United States, to Israel? What does that even mean? Is he suggesting that they just like step down and say, no, you now control the nation of Iran? Like what the hell are we even talking about? I'm like, let's be very clear. I know we got to pull and wrap here, but just Iran is a big country with a lot of people who are very proud of who they are. No occupying force from Israel, from the United States, will ever successfully occupy Iran. So, what are we calling for? What are we asking for? What do we want? If we're getting involved, what are the military objectives? What the fuck is this president talking about, Dave? Like, there is no clear or coherent US strategy. It's just tweets and catch up to Benjamin Netanyahu. This president is not in charge of anything. What I don't know what the fuck we're doing. So I know we got to move. Happy to move.
Well,
Something we're going to be talking about more.
he will declare a victory parade and how he won this war, by the way. Just make it very clear. Andy, are you in how's your cell phone service going? You know,
I think I know where you're going with this. My cell phone's working well.
what carrier do you use?
We're on T-Mobile, actually.
Yeah, yeah, T-Mobile. I do that too. Do you do T-Mobile Tuesdays? You get sometimes the free little things there. I enjoy my
It
T-Mobile
works.
service. Well, we have a new never one to miss out on an opportunity, Andy. The president, by the way, he's not using the power of the presidency to promote any of this. I mean, clearly not using the Trump name in any way, shape, or form
Yeah.
to do this. But the two stooges, Eric and Don Jr., rolled out, I think it was Monday, a new cell phone service, all made in the USA, Andy. Trump Mobile,
Yeah.
following the successful things of the Trump Bible, the Trump guitar, Trump University, Trump wine. Only the best of the best, Andy. This is the best, the greatest cell phone network ever. I don't even think it is a cell phone network, but it is what it is. But I find it very interesting that of all times, now Trump is going to roll out his mobile plan. And Andy, if you really want to, you can get a gold cell phone.
Yeah.
This is the Trump. This is the top of the top. You spend $500, you can get this. Kind of like his Visa card, his Trump Gold Visa card.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like Visa as an entry to the United States card.
It, it, it,
Always interesting.
It's the great grift of this presidency, man. I mean, you shared a post with me earlier that, the president filed his filings and shared where he's made his money, which he's had I mean, this is the best he's ever had in his career. The president has never run a more successful business than he has the presidency and the MAGA fan club. It's his most successful business venture ever. And he's raking in millions upon millions off of his Bibles and guitars, his cryptocurrency, his meme coin, his now rolling out of phones where it's like the Trump brand is being sold to the Trump base, and the Trump base is buying it up to the piece of this man. And he's like, fuck it. Just I'm just gonna sell the presidency and use my influence and make a lot of money here. And his sons have fully embraced it, and they're just selling bullshit. This is a shitty phone that is just piggybacking off other wireless service, in
Yeah.
hopes of being purchased by somebody later. And just the way people rally to support these bullshit ideas, it just like disgustingly decrease the prestige of the presidency, right? It's just such corrupt grift that should never happen. And it's just like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. And so we're gonna sell these stupid fucking gold phones and great. And as American people, it's like we just roll along. It's like, yeah, this is just fine. This is where like there are like I love our Constitution. Thomas Jefferson, he looked at our Constitution and said, hey, no constitution, no law should live for more than 19 years, right? No generation should bind a generation that follows. On laws, I agree. I agree. On the Constitution, I disagree because we'll never write a better Constitution. But our founders did not foresee America 2025. And there are a lot of things that need to be updated to make this country work properly, ethically again. And so we do need some amendments to our Constitution. Among them, something we didn't think we had to articulate, we need to clearly reel in the presidency as a job that you cannot profit off of and sell like it's a freaking prostitute, right? I mean, the president just rents out the office, whatever bullshit idea he has, right? Pimps out the office of the presidency on whatever product comes its way. It's just disgusting. It's got to stop. It's so corrupt. It's so anti-American. George Washington wasn't selling George Washington cherries when he was in the White House. But Donald Trump's want to sell anything with his brand and logo on it to make money while he's there. It's just gross.
Yeah, I think that I disagree with you a little bit, Amy, because I think the founders did foresee America 2025 because they said we should be making changes to this document. We should be updating this document. And I think this is one of those things. We should be updating the document to reflect this. And I'd go even a step further. It's not just the presidency. Think about all the insider trading that uh, financial public, private sector individuals would get fired for, go to jail for, all that other stuff. There's regulations against them. The politicians have no such regulations. They
Right.
make millions of dollars on insider deals. They get briefed on a particular something. They know something's going to happen against a certain company. They'll offload that stock. It's not ironic. It happens every day. And so I'd go a little step further on that and go beyond that. It is just amazing though. And again, it's just shameless manipulation of the Trump base. Oh, this is going to be all made in the USA. Eric Trump is talking about you won't hear somebody from India on the phone. Like how fucking
Yeah.
unbelievably like you're playing to your base's hatred
Yeah.
by doing things like that. It's going to be in Nebraska. Well, look, that may start that way, and I guarantee you, give it some time because again, even if this gets bought out and killed, like your customer support service is going to be where the businesses can make the most money for. And I guarantee you, it's not somebody sitting in Nebraska somewhere or Iowa somewhere or middle America doing this. It's just a shameless one after the other to continue to do this. But yeah, look, this guy has done it. I mean, we haven't stepped in and stopped him because the fucking Republican Party are fucking cowards. They're fucking cowards. That's all I can
Well,
say about it. So
cowards and fans, Dave. And I know we're gonna, move off of the president here, but as we close, like new polling data is out. A couple new polls are out. The president's approval ratings overall are negative. But Dave, I'm looking at one poll. Here's an NBC poll that just came out. Overall, 46%, I'm sorry, 45% approval, 55% disapproval. But Dave, within the Republican Party, 89% approval of President Trump's his rating as president of the United States, like approving of what he's doing. 89%. So as far as Republican Party goes, they are they're in. Like they're saying we want more of this. And so just as Americans look at the political parties today and the option of being independent or a small party, whatever, like no one's hiding where they are. Like the Republican Party has radically changed over the last 10 years. 10 years ago yesterday, the president announced he was running for president the first time and has completely changed this party. And the Republicans are saying this is the party we want. These are the positions we want. This is the leadership we want. We want more of exactly this. And like that's just information, right? That's just information for Americans to think about as they think about how they identify and who they support. This is what the Republican Party wants today. Again, not a Democrat, just an American looking around and saying, how the fuck is that even humanly possible? Onward we
Yep.
go.
Onward, Andy. Let's go to something more depressing than what we were just talking about. We're going to bring out our series on new coach hires in the NFL.
Yes.
Mama Jabor, you can skip to the end there because I think we're probably done talking politics. But we're talking about the pitiful Dallas Cowboys today in their new hire of Brian Schottenheimer. I brought this up when we did it, but let's just go through some of the numbers. The Cowboys last year were 7-10. There was some faint hope near the last couple of weeks that they could back into the playoffs, but again, it was just really bad. Dak Prescott missed the second half of the season, but even when he was in, Andy, they were not very good. I think he was, something like 3-5 or something when they were and they just rolled off from there.
Yeah.
Um, and this has been kind of the story. Dak Prescott has been put up a lot of great numbers. The offense has put a lot of great numbers. The defense has a lot of studs on there, but yet somehow, if they do make it to the playoffs, they don't get very far. So they fired Mike Zimmer, your favorite coach of all time.
Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy.
I'm sorry, Mike. I don't know why I keep saying Zimmer and McCarthy. They fired. I wish they would have had Mike Zimmer. They had Mike McCarthy, your favorite coach. They fired him, and they were trying to find a coach, and it took them quite some time. And they didn't fire McCarthy right away.
Yeah.
They waited a week when other coaches, Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, those individuals were coming off the board. And so they went with Brian Schottenheimer. Now, Brian Schottenheimer has never been a head coach. He's been an offensive coordinator for a long time. In many of his locations, his offenses have been in the top half, but and then in 2023 they were the number one offense, and the Cowboys were a very good offensive team, but then you'll remember they lost that first round of the playoffs. So here we are with the Cowboys. It feels like back in the 90s with Chan Gailey but Chan Gailey was even like a offensive like guru. They felt really good about him. He was a hot spot and but you had Dave Campo in there and then you had, the Clapper, Jason Garrett there for a long time. Oh, this Cowboys, I don't know, Andy. This just doesn't on paper they look like a really good team, but it's not on paper, it's how you perform.
Yeah.
And I don't see it, Andy.
Yeah. So you're not enthused about your selection here for your head coach, Dave?
Look, he could be a good head. Maybe he'll be a better head coach than he was offensive coordinator. He was a good offensive coordinator, but man, I just like this is not the wow factor I was hoping for.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because the Cowboys sort of took their time and it was like, what are they doing? Like, they're not going to keep McCarthy. Who are they going to hire? 'Cause, right, some of the bigger names that were sort of being floated around were getting picked up, including the Lions' two OCs who you mentioned. So it's like, but then it started to look like this was Jerry Jones's plan maybe the whole time, right? And so they promoted Brian from inside. Now I'll say this, I went back and looked over his career. He's got a great career. I mean, he's had a great coaching career. He played ball, played quarterback, Kansas, played in Florida behind on Steve Spurrier's team as a backup. Good, I mean, successful college career. Getting to be a backup at one of the marquee institutions, and then went right into coaching. Coaching for his dad. And I'll say one thing I don't love about the NFL is the endless coaching nepotism because like, it seems like so many guys
Yeah.
get in just because of their father and you wonder like how exclusive is this club. But he came in and coached under his dad for a few times, and then really had a good career on his own right, moving on as a quarterbacks coach and offensive coordinator with consistent success. But never like I mean, his name was thrown around a little bit for a couple jobs, the Bills, the Dolphins, right? They were looking at him as a head coach, and he passed. He went to stay where he was for whatever reason, whatever was going on in his life, his decision making, whatever reason. And then kind of his time seemed to have passed, right? And one thing about the NFL is there's always sort of hot coaching names and then hot coaching types, right? Like everybody wants the next hot young offensive coordinator to come be their head coach, or you want the next Dan Campbell or whatever. And so they sort of like lock in, I want this guy. And a lot of those guys end up getting fired because they're just, Sean McVay is Sean McVay, and not every OC is Sean McVay. Dan Campbell is Dan Campbell. Not every former football player is going to be Dan Campbell. I'll give this to Schottenheimer. Maybe he's just that guy that quietly hung around and is really ready to do this. Because there's guys in every career, every profession that are just there and they're like really good and competent and just get looked past. They get passed over for whatever reason. Maybe he comes in and brings in a good offensive mind. He's worked closely with Dan Quinn when Dan Quinn was there in the defense. Maybe he understands the game better than people think he does. And maybe he's really likable. I don't think people are thinking Nick Sirianni was going to be, the monster head coach that he's been when he went to the Eagles. He's killed it, right? Say what you will about the team, how good they are, whatever else. He's doing a great job. Maybe Brian Schottenheimer brings something to Dallas that they need in a calm leader who can maybe give this team something that they need. I would say it's maybe not as bad a pick as I initially thought it was. And I hope he can do well.
Yeah, I hope he can do well too. I'm not going to follow anything until the playoff time, so I'll obviously keep things on the back of my mind. But this team, no matter what they do during the regular season, like it's not about that anymore. Like this team, like if you're so invested in what you're trying to do, they picked up Pickens, they have CD Lamb, so you have two wide receivers who are effectively stretching the field.
Yeah,
You have they did find some running game a little bit. They got Miles Sanders from Carolina, who a couple years ago was a good running back for the Eagles. And you have Dak Prescott. They have the players. The question just comes through, is it going to show out on the field? And look, I mean the Cowboys, it's been 30 years since they've made it to the NFC Championship
yeah.
game. Just made it to the championship game. And they've been good teams. They've had good teams. So I guess the question here, Andy, as we just close out on our things. So you're not as pessimistic. I'm neutral on the higher. I mean, I think they could have done a little bit more on it, but it is what it is. Are they 7-10 last year?
Yeah.
Are they going to do better or worse than last, or stay the same as last year?
So the challenge the Cowboys have is you're in a good division, right?
Yep.
Washington's good. The Eagles are really good. The Giants are going to be like maybe mediocre. And you've got some tough matchups. You're playing the NFC North this year, playing some. So I think record wise, I think 10 wins is probably like realistic. 10, 11 wins is probably realistic just because it's going to be tough. But that's not to say that that can't get you in the playoffs and that you can't be a good team. I think the Lions, for example, also are looking at a 10-win type season, 11-win type season, but they could be a very good team. I think the Cowboys will too. I think there's going to be more bunched up in the middle this year than we've seen in a while.
Yeah, I think they're going to be better because I think if you get a full season of Dak, I think that'll be better. I think a new offensive, it's not going to be a new offensive scheme because he's been their offensive coordinator. So, I mean, I think more under the system.
Yeah.
9 wins is technically better, but you're only one game over 500. You're going to need 11 wins to make it to the playoffs, I think, in the NFC. So I think I could see 10 wins. I can see 10 wins. I don't know if that's going to be good enough. It could be the seventh seed. So it's just going to be like the NFC North is a monster.
Yeah.
The NFC East is a monster. And are the 49ers going to be better this year than they were last year? Probably. So it's like the NFC is like football teams are all competitive. It's going to be tough. It's going to be other than the Giants, of course. So
Other than the Giants, of course. Yeah, they kind of suck. I think they'll suck again. So,
yeah,
oh no, we suck again. So we'll see. But I think the Cowboys have a chance. Again, like, is Dak good enough to get him to the mountaintop? Has been a question. Like, he surpassed expectations. He's been strong, throws a lot of footballs. Can you get him? You know, or to the matter, they've got some weapons. Do they have enough in the running back position? We'll see. But I mean, the Cowboys have built a good team. We'll see if they're a playoff team.
Yep, yep. So we'll get there. We'll get there. So, all right, Andy, that'll wrap up a Wednesday. So good time. It's gonna be Juneteenth tomorrow. So federal holiday there, unless Trump changes it tonight. I don't know. We'll see. There could be a DEI. We'll have to go back on DEI or something.
Yeah.
But with that,
Really
Andy,
an exciting holiday and
yeah,
unappreciated history for a lot of a lot of people don't understand the history of Juneteenth. It is a big deal. Maybe something we'll talk about on Friday.
yeah, no, let's definitely do it. So, okay, Andy, I hope you have a good rest of your day here, and we'll catch up with you on Friday.